All right, we are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, We Love Comics. Quick few announcements while I'm waiting for a couple of people, because this is a last-minute video. I already wrote a post, but John Vasquez Jr., you paid me by Cash App for your Captain America #1 for $30 plus shipping and handling, and you never sent me any email or any kind of address to where you send your comic to. So I appreciate you giving me money, but I want to make sure you get a comic. And I don't think knocking on every single door on the planet will give me enough time to find out if you were the one that got it. So if John Vasquez Jr., if you can contact me through peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com and give me an address to send your comic to, it's ready to go. And everybody that's paid so far have had their comics sent. A couple of people said payment plans. I think there was only one person that hasn't contacted me yet, but the success of that ended up getting me a Grail that should be arriving by Saturday, and it has been confirmed sent. So it's a book I've never owned before, so check either Saturday or Sunday. It's really going to depend on when it arrives. But I got a Silver Age Holy Grail comic coming that I've never owned before, that was only possible because of that last auction. And I wasn't even planning on having this happen, so hopefully it will show that good things can happen if you have the right mindset. I've talked about that numerous times. This is don't forget to sign up for the cashback program. The link is in the description. It is also in the live chat. They switched it to a higher amount if you spend $25 or more within the first 90 days of signing up. By clicking on the link, you will get a $25 cashback bonus. So let me put on the video camera. I have 4 boxes. All of these are CGCs. So I definitely have love for CGCs. Never had a problem with the company. But of course, I will tell you the significance of the book, the price I paid, and these are absolutely books you should be adding to your collection, in my opinion, if you are looking for books that are going in the upward direction for investment purposes. Now, some people will say things like, oh, I might not like that book. Well, one of the things I always say to people, if you were buying a book for investment purposes, then obviously if you're buying them because you love to read them, you're not really going to be buying a graded comic, because that really defeats the purpose of that kind of thing. But if you buy books solely for investment and you don't even like them, well, it makes them a heck of a lot easier when it comes time to sell them or trade them, because you don't really have that, attachment to them like you will, like, for example, with the Holy Grail book I'm about to get approximately Saturday. It's the comics that we love that are always the hardest to get rid of or trade or sell. So, I mean, you are free to collect any way you like. Like I always say, collect what you love, you'll always be happy. But you can also collect what you hate, and you'll always be happy when it comes time to sell them. So I kind of look at things differently than a lot of people on YouTube, and that's probably why I either get a lot of love or a lot of hate. Alright, so, okay. So this one to me is the cheapest one. It'll go up as we go. And 4 people already liked the video, so thank you for that. You guys know I always appreciate that. And of course, I will tell you my opinion and the price. And I definitely think this is one of those that people are overlooking right now. And this is the time to pounce on this before these skyrocket. Now, of course, nothing is ever guaranteed, but I'm safe to bet that this will definitely be going in the upward direction. You got to follow the trends, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so the first one. This is Sensational She-Hulk #1. This is 9.6. This is not her first appearance or anything, but this is a newsstand variant, so the newer books are really harder to get with high-grade books with the newsstands. The origin of She-Hulk has been retold. Nothing of real significance other than the fact that it is a #1 issue. 9.6. I paid a total with shipping and handling of $92. And Kendall just did a $4.99 super chat, so thank you for that. That was unexpected and definitely nice of you. So shout out to Kendall for doing something so kind. This is definitely a book to pick up. And you can get it relatively cheap. When do most people who invest in comics and speculate in comics get a book? They tend to all buy them when they're just in the highest of demand, which means they're either going to plateau, maybe go up a little bit, or shoot down again. So to me, it just makes no sense. The idea is to buy them when nobody else wants them. And we know She-Hulk is getting her own TV show. This should not be anything new to anybody, especially if you watch my channel and many others. I'm not going to say I'm the only one. Obviously, there's plenty of channels that are going to mention it. But to me, most people wait until there's the first trailer. Well, the prices are going to be so much higher then. Why would you do that? I mean, obviously, if you don't have the money at the time, that's one thing. Or you're looking to get something else, you know, I understand that. But I see so many people, they get so upset that prices of books get so high. And yet, some of these books, you basically had 30, 40, 50 years to get. Well, what have you been doing all that time? I think just some people on the internet love to complain. And instead of saying to themselves, boy, I should work harder, they decide to trash others. This is another book I've recommended. This one, to me, was a no-brainer investment. I was willing to put a little extra money into this one because I don't base things on what the prices are now. I base them on where they will be going. Frank Robert Johnson says, hi, Chris. Total I owe you is $25. Let me double check. Yes. Absolutely. So I'm glad you contacted me because I definitely want to make sure everybody has their total straight. So that is correct. If you live in the continental United States, the shipping was $8.99. So correct. So yeah, that's for your Captain America #1, the CBDL variant. So congratulations on that, by the way. All right. So this book, to me, not a major investment, but again, has to do with the She-Hulk. I did a video on this one. I'm going all in on it. This is Secret Wars #3. This is the first appearance of Titania, which is She-Hulk's #1 villain. Now, they haven't confirmed any of the villains yet, but it would be quite interesting if they didn't use or get ready to use her #1 villain of all time. Now, that, of course, doesn't guarantee it, but also we know Secret Wars is coming eventually to the MCU, so it's a win-win regardless. This is triple signed. This is a signature witnessed 9.8. This was signed by John Beatty, Jim Shooter, and Michael Zeck. So triple signed. First appearance also of Volcana. But the main one, and they don't write it here, I don't know why they don't put that, but the main one that I'm getting it for is Titiana, or Titiana, or, you know, Titiana. I'll leave that up to you to pronounce. Because of the fact that she could be in the She-Hulk TV show. So you know what happens when all of a sudden they introduce a character in one of the shows, all of a sudden the book just pops out of nowhere and becomes desirable. I paid $347.26 for this book. So I'm speculating 100% on this book that it's going to do very well, provided that character ends up in the TV show. And even if she doesn't, like I said, I know Secret Wars is coming. So that's the backup on that. So that's a double feature on that book. So if they use that villain in the TV show, well, that book's going to go up. And then when the Secret Wars comes out, it's going to go up even again. So, you know, like I said, when I do my investments, I base it on the potential of where it's going, not where it is. That's why I constantly tell people, please, do your research. And this person used duct tape to tape this graded book to the cardboard, which is not the best and wisest move, because if you know anything about duct tape, it always leaves a very sticky residue. So please, don't do that. See what I did there? Alright, so this is another key book. And yeah, they put it directly on the book with no bag, by the way. So now I'm going to have sticky residue all over this comic. So smart job on this. Gotta love people sometimes. And this is not a cheap book. Alright, so now I gotta peel off the duct tape from the case. So this has been taped before a live audience. Alright, so luckily that didn't damage it. Alright, this is a modern book. I have 2 of them I bought raw. This one I got... it did leave some residue here. That sucks. Yeah, I could fix it. But this another one is another investment one. This to me is one of those, if you can find it cheap, get it. This is Miss Marvel #2. This is the Melina variant. This is a very popular book. It's solely for the artwork. There is no major significance in here. I got it at a 9.6, and I paid $744.12. So I did pay a little bit for this, but again, I am basing it on the fact that when the TV show comes, this book is already popular. It's going to become more popular. So I'm grabbing a couple of these to take the chance on it, and I think it's worth it considering where this has been going. You know, not all books have to have something majorly significant in them to make them valuable. There are plenty of books just for the artwork alone. You know, look at something like, for example, and I'm not comparing saying they're the same, but look at, example, Amazing Spider-Man 33. There's nothing significant about that book. Why do people get it? Because of the cover. When he's underneath that metal thing and having the water drip down on him. There is no major significance of that book. People buy it for the cover. So there are plenty of examples of that throughout the comic book world. So, as usual, if you don't like it, you shouldn't get it. But I'm showing you what I'm getting. What you do is up to you. So, this I bought yesterday. Came today. So the person overnighted it, which I'm really happy about. This book I have several copies of, but this is the most expensive of this book I've ever spent. And as a matter of fact, if you add up all the books that I bought before I got this one, they would come to a fifth of what I paid for this. But it doesn't matter what prices were, it matters what prices are. This one is going to be pressed. And they put, well, at least they put the packing tape on this one. Alright, so let's get rid of some of this tape. This one will be pressed because a lot of times, and I don't see anything major on this book that would warrant, yeah, I could definitely see that this needs to be pressed. So I got a steal for this, considering what these are going for. All the way down the bottom of this book, you could see if you hold it in a light, and you won't be able to see it here. This book has an indent. So whoever graded this, and it is a witnessed signature, whoever graded this did not get it pressed. So because of the fact of this indent along the back, which does not break color, and I do not see any color breaks, this book is going to go into the 9s. But this is the most I've ever paid for this book. But considering what prices are going now and where they're going, when I saw this, this was a newly listed buy it now opportunity, and to me it was a no-brainer. They charged me $26.50 for shipping, but it cost them $44.50 to ship it overnight. So even though I thought initially that their shipping charge was a little high, considering they overnighted it, I'm not going to complain. So here we go, the last book, one I've talked about for years. Ultimate Fallout 4. That is the first print. Graded an 8.5. Like I said, this whole back. Now let me check the front, because I don't see one spine tick. So it's just the back. So they may not have even seen it when they went to get it in, because a lot of people, their idea of grading a book is looking at the front of the book and then making their determination from the front. The whole back is indented, which is the reason why this got an 8.5. So this is going to come back. I'm going to break this out because PGX does signature verifications, which, by the way, this was signed by Mark Bagley. So I'm going to bring this, but it doesn't matter. I've seen his signature many times. This is going to come back in 9.4. Could potentially come back in 9.8. Because the only problem is that indent all the way down in the back. And it does not break color. if that's the case, I got this for a steal. I paid $526.50 for this book. I've seen raw books go for $1,000. So this is why I want to explain to people. Like I said, I just bought this yesterday. Everybody sees how hot this book is getting, right? I've been talking about it for years. You know, you go on a YouTube channel that does an auction, somebody puts a raw copy up, people are paying $800 and above for this. I got a verified signature book for way below what the current market is. Now, of course, this is showing now as an 8.5. But I knew when I looked at this book, and I couldn't find any defects, a lot of times people don't realize that this was in a bag where there was a place to separate it apart on the back, which caused an indent on the back. A lot of times you can't see it. But this one, all the way down the back, is a concave indent, which can easily be pressed out. So I'm about to get probably a 9.2, 9.4, 9.6, maybe even possible 9.8 signed Ultimate Fallout 4 first print for, what was the total? $526.50. So I'm trying to tell people, ladies and gentlemen, deals are always out there. Now, obviously, $500 may not be a price that everybody can afford, but considering this book would normally go for about $800 to $900 or more if somebody put this as an auction. This was a buy it now price, newly listed. And if I get this pressed and it comes back a 9.4, a 9.6, a 9.8 because of that one pressable defect that somebody didn't spend the time to look at, now all of a sudden you're talking a $2,000-$3,000 book for my $526 investment. So all of the books that I bought combined, including my two 1 in 25 variants, one I sold recently, which I'm kicking myself for doing, but I made my promise, I made my word up for somebody that I would sell it, so I sold it. They got a gift, because they also got an Ultimate Fallout 2 first print. I'm not saying who it is or anything, but I regret selling that book. But if I take the two 1 in 25 variants and the 15 or 16 first prints I bought back in the days, they wouldn't equal this one book. But I can see the potential in the investment of this book, buying it at this price. To me, it was a no-brainer. So you'll have to let me know what you think, but I am absolutely next month going to get this broken out. I am going to get this pressed, and can't wait to see how much higher it goes, because like I said, that defect goes all the way up and down the book. I do not, the corners are sharp. There is not one spine tick at all. So that's the only defect. So you could, I could literally get a 9.8 out of this book once that's pressed out. And you can't see it unless you reflect it in the light. People don't do their research. So somebody might have been happy they made $526. But if I get that a 9.6 or a 9.8, I'm making a couple of thousand. So you got to know what you're doing. I cannot stress this. And I see all the time. And Joey says, I think you're better off resubmitting the book to CGC. Absolutely not. Number one, they're going to take months. Number two, it's going to be more expensive. Well, let's put it this way. If you think you should send it to CGC, by all means do. I can get this book back within 90 days. It will be pressed and dry cleaned and come back at a grade that I'm happy with. So many people want CGCs. And as you can see, all 4 of these books are CGC, so I have no problem with CGC. But anybody that says any company in the world makes no mistakes is basically somebody that either gets paid by them or they're afraid to stand out against the crowd. Me, I'm not going to send this back to the company that did this. It's going to take 5 or 6 months, because now you're talking having them first send it to their company to get pressed, which is going to take 2 to 3 months at best. Then they're going to ship it back to the CGC quarters, which is going to take another 2 to 3 months at best. So it'll take about 6 months for me to get this back, when I can get it back in 90 days. And if you look at my auctions, I've sold my PGX books at or very near what a CGC book is. I mean, if people want to keep regurgitating the same stories, and I'm not saying, Joey, that you're doing that, but I'm saying in general, if people want to keep regurgitating the same myth that PGX books cannot sell, I've said it before and I'll say it again, it depends on you. If you're a good salesperson, a good salesperson can sell ice cream to Eskimos. The biggest rule about sales is they have to trust you, they have to like you, and then they have to trust and like the product. So anybody that says that they cannot sell a PGX book means they're not putting in the effort and they're not doing their own job right. That's on them. So for me, you can believe anything that you want. Yeah, but CGC does do pressings and dry cleanings, but it's a separate company. It's not even, as far as I know, and I could be wrong because it could have changed, but the pressing service for CGC is outside the company. So you're talking, your book will sit in a box for literally months. Now how much damage can happen to a book? Because I'm sure they probably have books that might get knocked over, or they might lay flat, and if you have several books stacked on each other, that could cause damage. To me, time is money. Would I rather get a book back in a month and a half, or would I rather get a book back in 5 or 6 months, where now that money is sitting there, being able to have nothing done with it? Each person does what they want, and I guarantee you many people will disagree with what I'm saying. But here's the thing. I don't do what I do based on what other people think I should do. I base it on what I want to do, and that's why I'm always happy. You know, people can criticize all they want, but because of the auctions that I did, and you see most of them were PGX books, I was able to pay off my car in full. I just bought myself a CGC graded Holy Grail, by the way, and I bought a house with some of my comics. So, I mean, you could listen to the people that say over and over again the same narrative that everybody else regurgitates, or you can start thinking for yourself or seeing things with your own eyes. I tell people all the time, look at the auctions that I've done, see that I had PGX books, they sold, and they sold pretty well. If you want to send yours to CGC, you have every right to do it. But I'm not going to send this back to CGC and wait 6 months. And then something happens. Because, first of all, their customer service is horrible. PGX's service, I had books one time. Because I send 4 books every month for over 3.5 years now. One time, I didn't get my 4 books back in about 3 months. And I thought, all right, let me message them and see what happens. Turns out, because I mentioned the 4 books, it turns out I forgot to put the invoice in there. So for 3 to 4 months, those books were in limbo. They didn't know whose they were. They could have easily taken them. They had them the whole time. And when I sent them a message, listen, I just want to check on the status of my books. It's this, 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 and this. And they said, oh, so that's your books. It's like there was no invoice in there. And they sent them to me right away. So customer service has a lot to do with it. And yes, Joey, trust me, I've heard it thousands of times. Maximize profits, CGC sells for more. Well, I'll say it now for the 3rd time. Check my auctions, look at all the PGX books I sold, and go look at what the current prices are. You'll see that my books sold at or about what the current value is. If you want to believe that, Joey, you are absolutely 100% able to think that. I have many books to contradict you, and I'll show you 2 right here. These are both CGC books. These are both qualified because the person who sent these in did not understand or did not care that CGC does not do signature verifications. You know what? I got these and several others for more than half of what their value is. So the myth that CGC always sells more is nothing but that, a myth. So I don't know how many times I have to contradict what the average person claims by showing examples of it time and time again. So, like I said, Joey, I'm not trying to pick on you, but you're the one that keeps saying it. If you think that CGC is the best for you, then by golly, go use them. I wish you nothing but the best. But you cannot convince me that I cannot sell something in a different way just because everybody else says that you can't. See, I'm old school. When somebody says I can't do something, I don't give in. I don't admit defeat. I say I'll prove them wrong. And go to my auctions. I have 3 auctions that I've done in the past month. All 3 have the majority of the graded books PGX. Go look at what I sold them for. If you think that CGC is the only way, that is your opinion. You're not going to change mine. I can definitely make plenty of money with my PGX books. It depends on the book, it depends on the desirability, and it depends on your ability to market yourself. If you don't market something and just throw it on eBay, well, duh. Because most people won't even know it exists. How is somebody bidding on something when you put no effort into getting people to get there? So, if you want to follow what most of the people say, because it's the popular thing to do, by all means, please do it. But you're not going to convince me. That's the beautiful thing about my books. I do what I want with them. And considering, like I said, I bought myself a house with my comics. I bought myself a 2015 car that was going to be roughly around $19,000. I just bought almost it's worth about an $8,000 or $9,000 Grail book. And I paid my car insurance for the previous 6 months and paid off all my credit cards. I kind of think I know what I'm doing. And Joey, now you're insulting me, saying I'm not a PGX snob. So is that what you're referring to me? So Joey, I don't understand your logic. Why do you care so much about what I do with my books? And if you're saying I'm a PGX snob, now you're insulting me. And that's okay. So Joey, I didn't reach your level. I'm not going to reach your level. I'm not going to retaliate with something that's just childish. And wish you the best with your CGC books. I hope you don't get books like this, because I'll be buying them for a lot cheaper than everybody regurgitates that you will get. So Joey, it's a little low class for you to say that, and that's okay. I wish you well, and I'm going to end the video right here. Ladies and gentlemen, think the way you want, and this is the thing about life. The masses are going to regurgitate the same thing over and over again, and so many people are going to be afraid to stand against it, and then you never believe in anything other than what somebody tells you. If that's what you want to do, if you want to be a follower, by all means, please do it. But you're not going to tell somebody who can lead by example and do things and contradict what the masses say. You're not going to change their mind, even with that. I'm talking about myself. Okay, all right, so thank you for clarifying that. That's the thing about typed words. You don't know the context behind them. So thank you for clarifying that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you do your own research. I hope you know what you're investing in. I hope if you are investing that you base it on research, knowledge, ability, effort, trusting in yourself, trusting your instincts, and basing things not where things are, not where things have been, where they're going. Because like I said, I had at one point 16 of these first prints that I paid between $10 and $12 for. I gave a bunch of them away over the years. I'm down to like 6 or 7 of them. I bought 2 of the 1 in 25 variants, both about $100. I think one was $104, one was $96. All of those combined do not even equal what I paid for this book, but it's still worth it because, again, I know where this book is going. And I know, now that I see the book, that this grade is absolutely going to improve. So let's put it this way. Let's say it comes back a 9.8. Let's just assume I got that press, that was the only defect, it comes back a 9.8. Let's say at the time, let's just assume the book is $5,000. Everybody wants it. Let's just assume they just made an announcement that Miles Morales will be in a live-action MCU movie. And it goes from $5,000 to $10,000 overnight. Let's just assume. Are you telling me if I got this, a PGX 9.8, I'm going to sell it for $300? $500? $5,000? I will, if a CG book goes for $10,000, I'll put this up for $9,900, and I guarantee I'll sell it. Do I need the extra 100 that bad? Because first of all, it's going to cost me less to get this graded, so you have to think about the factors. Most people, they don't tell you that they spend the extra money, so instead of waiting 5 months, they only have to wait 2 months or 3 months. That costs money. So they're putting $30, $40, $50, $80 into a book to get it graded, when the deal I have with PGX, you know what it costs me? The shipping costs to bring them there, which if you divide it by 4, comes out to on average of $4. So it cost me $4 to get my book pressed, dry cleaned, signature verified, and graded. And I'll get it back in 90 days max. As opposed to sending it to CGC, where it will cost me, because if you get a book pressed, they have to regrade it, so you will not be only charged the $15, switching the label thing, because you're getting it regraded. So it will cost, the pressing will cost about $30. Probably about $40 to $50 if you include shipping and handling both ways, and insurance. And it will cost you that again for the grading cost. So that will cost about $100. So you're spending up front $100, and I could easily sell this book for $100 less. It evens out. But no one ever thinks about that. Like I say, if you, and I'm not saying anybody in particular, but if you do not know the difference between net and gross when it comes to business, you should not be doing a business. I've had my own businesses since 2002. I have worked part-time since 2002. I have not put in more than 18 hours a week since 2002. I'm no millionaire. Trust me on that. I don't have tens of thousands of dollars in my bank account. But I can make money easily if I need it. So if you want to follow people that, like I say, when you play blackjack, if you don't know what you're doing, every now and then you're going to win. Because like an old saying says, even a broken clock is right at least twice a day. Well, that doesn't make the clock a good clock to take your time to look at what time it is on. Just because it's right twice a day. And if you do everything right, you can still fail. No one is 100% right when it comes to investments. Anybody that is 100% right is a liar or a person that influences the market and they have insider information. My point is, you can sell anything to anyone if you put in the effort. If you just take a book with the attitude of, oh, it's not going to sell because it's a PGX book, I'm just going to throw it up on eBay and I'll get whatever I can, what a surprise, that's exactly what you get. Or you could be like me, I know exactly when to sell a book. I know what books to sell because I sell books that continually go up. I market them correctly. I actually put enthusiasm and effort into it. I put the knowledge into it as well. And lo and behold, I sell my books at or near what CGCs are. And one of these days, I'll sell one for more expensive than CGC. The only difference is I do not allow any of my auctioneers to overspend for a book. But I could easily have done it. I've seen it before. But because I have more concerns than just money, I watch my videos on my auctions. I tell people to check what the going prices are on eBay. And I say, if the price that people are bidding gets close to the price that you could get on eBay, I end the bidding. Because I don't want people to overspend on a book. So I have ethics. But I can easily, if I wanted to, I could easily sell a book for more expensive than a CGC. Because it's all about what effort you put into it. And I could put a hell of a lot of effort when I need something. I had to come up with $5,000 in 12 hours to get this Grail book. I did that auction, and like I said, I did the auction just coincidentally the day before I found this book. Or actually, this book found me because I wasn't looking for it. It was a newly listed book, and it is literally just by, according to GoCollect.com, I paid under $1,000, I paid $1,200 under its value, and that's from GoCollect. And we know nowadays GoCollect is not as reliable as it used to be because of the fact that every day now prices are going ridiculously higher than GoCollect can even keep track of. So any deals and anything is possible depends on what you do and you don't do. If you go into anything with the mindset of, well, everybody says this is a certain way, so this is how it is, and I have to agree with it because everybody says so, well, you're going to put no effort in, and lo and behold, you make that premonition come true. I mean, I don't know how many times I have to tell my subscribers and my viewers, life will be based on what you truly feel in your heart. If you allow other people to convince you how to live, that's not their fault, that's your fault. And again, I'm not saying it to anyone in particular. And yes, Joey, I totally understand what you're saying. I'm saying the custom yellow looks nicer. You want to know something? You see this? You see this? This is the stupidest marketing ploy for any, and no offense to anybody. I'm just going to say straight out what I feel about this. This is not free. This, to me, does nothing to the value of the book. This is like putting a sticker on a car. You're spending $5. It's either $5, $10, or $15 to put a picture of Spider-Man. Do you think that adds any value to the book? Gee, it looks pretty. I don't care about that. You think when somebody's buying a book, they care about if Spider-Man is on there or not? That is marketing genius by CGC. And I will give them so much credit that they were able, and I'm sorry to say it, if you take offense, there's nothing I can do about it. But CGC suckered people into thinking putting this on the label is going to sell it anymore. Because I guarantee you, if I had two exact same CGC books, one had this picture of Spider-Man, and one didn't, and they were sold the same price, both of them would sell. But you had to spend $5 to get a fancy picture of Spider-Man. Okay, so yeah. When I talk about investments, I don't care about the frills. I care about what I can sell the item that I'm selling for. Do you think if I'm investing in stocks, I care if they send me a stock certificate that has a bunch of pretty little flowers along the edge of the stock certificate? Easy. What people will allow themselves to spend more money on and think that it's going to enhance the sales. So anyway, now by thanking everybody for watching. I don't even know if you can hear me anymore, because in typical YouTube fashion, I guess if you say something that goes against the norm, they like to interfere. Collect what you love, collect the way you want. But trust me, I think for myself, and I highly recommend to others to do the same. Don't go by what the masses tell you. Even if they are right, it doesn't mean it is right for you.